And we are back, and we just finished watching 2025's The Ugly Stepsister. This is not rated on IMDb, but it clocks in at 1 hour and 49 minutes. We caught this on Hulu, but it's also on AMC Plus and to buy rent on Prime. This is one of the contenders for the upcoming Oscar for makeup and hairstyling in the category with Frankenstein, Kokuho, Sinners, Smashing Machine, and The Ugly Stepsisters. This is written and directed by Emilie Blichfeldt, and it sort of mirrors the story of Cinderella.
It is the story of Cinderella.
Yes, but it's told from one of the stepsisters' vantage point, or she is the main character here. According to the IMDb blurb, Elvira battles against her gorgeous stepsister in a realm where beauty reigns supreme. She resorts to extreme measures to captivate the prince amid a ruthless competition for physical perfection. We are pairing this with If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. And very different movies, but sometimes there's some overlap here, and I'll go into that in a little bit. But of the two movies this weekend, I would say this is the champ.
Yeah, this was
even though it was an unsettling watch.
A bit unsettling, but at least it was entertaining.
Yes, for sure.
It wasn't aggravating.
Sure. No. What are your thoughts?
I like this movie. This was a really interesting telling of the Cinderella story.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that you could find sympathy with almost all the characters, really.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one real character who is not doing something bad, and that's the younger stepsister,
Alma.
But she doesn't really feature much in the story.
No.
I felt bad for Elvira.
Yeah.
God, yeah, she was just this very naive young woman who was just in love with the idea of, the prince coming in and marrying her and living happily ever after.
Yeah, she definitely was brought up and fed on the
Oh yeah,
she
had the prince's book of poems or some nonsense like that.
And they weren't even that good.
They weren't that good, and they probably weren't even written by him.
Yeah, agreed.
And then it's as the story goes, the stepmother and the two stepsisters arrive at the house of Cinderella's dad. Cinderella's actual name is
Agnes.
Agnes. And in the beginning, it seems okay. The father he's older, clearly, but he's like jubilant.
He's got this hot young wife.
He's now, well, she's apparently a widow with sagging tits, according to her own description. And
they both allegedly have money.
they both lied to each other and told each other that they had money. And I would say that the thing that's interesting is that the Cinderella character is a bit standoffish in the beginning. She's not rude, but she's also not very warm, especially to Elvira, who is just gaping wide-eyed at apparently all this opulence that they live in. And then during dinner, the father does like that weird thing where he throws cake in Elvira's face.
That was awful.
That was very strange, but she didn't seem to mind. She laughed it off, and she liked cake. And everybody was laughing, and then he just had a heart attack and died. And this is where it sort of like differed a bit, because it wasn't like Cinderella just instantly became a scullery maid and was used as a slave by the evil stepmother.
Right. No, because it seemed like Rebekka had both horses in the race.
Yeah, she understood that, okay, well, now this kid is my daughter too. Obviously, I'm not going to care for her as much as my others, but I'm still going to care for her. And if she hooks up with the prince, hell, I'm on easy street. If my Elvira hooks up with the prince, I'm on easy street.
Right. So it's
the only one she didn't really care about was Alma, because Alma apparently hadn't
even menstruated.
Yeah, hadn't menstruated, and she was just hanging out in the barn,
being a tomboy.
Yeah. So yeah, she got it. She got easy, but Elvira or Elvira, whatever. Man, she went through hell.
Yeah.
Like the prince made some announcement that all the virgins are invited to the grand ball 4 months from now, and So they had to get to quick work, and they broke her nose. Her original nose wasn't that bad in my opinion.
No, I didn't think so either.
But they broke her nose. They ripped her braces off her teeth. And oh my God, the eyelash thing.
Let's not talk about it.
There is some brutal scenes of like mutilation in the name of beauty. In fact, the doctor actually had like a post or something that said something along the lines of beauty is pain.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is some stuff that I would say is not for the squeamish.
Yes, agreed.
Especially towards the end, Elvira, sorry, I keep calling her Elvira.
I mean, you could say, I think that's just the pronunciation.
Yeah, she ends up like there's a tapeworm involved.
Oh my God. That
there's the fact that the stepmother she spent all her money on all this crap for Elvira that she was just like, Cinderella's basically like, well, when are we going to bury my dad? And she's like, when we got money. Yeah. So we're just going to leave him in basically the drawing room, rotting. Oof. So she basically goes in there, I guess, every couple of days and just like sits by her rotting father's corpse. He's got flies all over him.
Ugh. Maggots.
Yeah, so there is some very squeamish, gross stuff. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, a lot of jism for a Cinderella story. I didn't expect that. There's another trigger warning for you.
It's true, though. No, it's true. I just, because now that you've said it, I'm like thinking about to all the parts in this film where I was like, oh, penis. I didn't expect that.
I know. There's a part of the film where I'm like, is this going to turn into a porno? What?
Yeah, and to your point, I think everybody gets like an interesting character arc, and you kind of feel for everyone, even the not so nice characters like Rebekka. At the end, she basically has to prostitute herself for survival, and
like she must have just lost her mind at the end too, because like what did she think? Like her daughter does that thing at the end, and she's just like, her reaction is just like, oh, he's got the other shoe.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like we're gonna keep going with this plan.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's never gonna work. She's never gonna be able to walk.
Yeah.
It was just weird. And then it was like she didn't even care at the end, because when they finally like the prince comes, everything gets settled, and she's not even present.
Yeah.
She's in a room somewhere with some dude. So it was like, well, I don't know. Did she have like ADD or something?
No, I think that was her contingency plan, because she saw that it all went to hell.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no way that Elvira was going to recover from that. You know what I mean? Yeah. She had gone down a very steep slope and was crashing and burning at that point. So I think Mama had to come up with a plan B to kind of save her own neck.
And I feel Elvira was just like a very tragic character.
She was in a lot of ways, yeah.
She's like a victim of everybody's idea of what beauty should be. She's a victim of her own naivety about how the world works.
Right.
She sort of like, as she starts becoming more, I guess, attractive, or working her way to becoming more attractive, she becomes very competitive.
And mean.
And mean at certain points. Like she rats out Cinderella. She starts like doing taking advantage of the fact that like Cinderella is now in this lowly state.
Yeah.
Like she's better than her suddenly.
Right.
But in the end, it just all comes crashing down.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, even though you can feel, oh yeah, she kind of deserved that, it's like, did she really? Yeah. Because it's sort of like you took somebody who was fine the way she was.
Right.
And you turned her into something that was not nice. And then when it all fell apart, she's just destroyed.
Yeah.
And thank God, she had her sister.
Right. who was the only true blue person in the whole story.
Yeah.
Well, two things. So I think one thing while we were watching it, kind of to piggyback off something you just said, there have been studies, I can't remember right now, but I'm sure they're pretty famous and people know this in the back of their heads, but there have been studies where it's been proven that if you are attractive, people are more inclined to be more favorable or positive towards you, and you inherently just get stuff because of your attractiveness. So being attractive is like this high ideal for some people. And in her daydreams, Elvira saw herself at her most beautiful. You know, we open up the story in this like dream sequence where she's dreaming about the prince, and they're in the meadows and they're frolicking, and he's going to kiss her or whatever. And
but he shoots her first.
He shoots her?
He shoots her in the stomach with an arrow. Like she's laying on the ground with an arrow in her gut, and he's leaning over to kiss her for some reason.
Right. No, you're right. But besides that, you know, I'm trying to just focus on the more romanticized versions of.
Well,
whatever.
I mean, yeah. Well, she was still in love with him, even though
Right.
she's lying there with an arrow
in her stomach.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that I mean, in real life, she has a run-in with him, and he's not kind.
No, he's
and
a
yet
piece of crap, and his
still,
friends are just animals.
Right, and yet she's still so fixated on this guy. Like if I'd had an encounter like that, I would have been like, later for you, dude. Right?
Yeah.
But not Elvira. She still wants to go ahead with this plan. Right? Mm-hmm. So there's this, it's almost like a satire on like beauty and perfection, right? And then the other thing that I was thinking about while we were watching it is The Substance, which we not just saw, but we saw not too long ago. And there's also this struggle with like physical appearance and aging and young versus old and this, that, and the other thing. So there were some things that kind of meshed between the two stories, and I thought that was really, really interesting. In The Substance, obviously, it's the same person in two different age ranges. I mean, they're two separate entities at that point, but they're still the same person. But they operate very, very differently, right? Here, it's young women being kind of competitive in a way, right? You go to that, they show the sequence in the finishing school, and there's all these young ladies from what I'm assuming are wealthy families who are trying very desperately to be exactly what the prince wants, right? So everyone has this goal. They want to marry off their daughter to the prince because it would be a big feather in their cap. It would lead to a life of luxury. It would lead to parents not having to worry about their daughters, because daughters always were more property than anything, and you had to be strategic about who you let your daughter marry, right? So there's a lot of that in those types of stories in that type of time period, right? So, but it's interesting how, as we've progressed as a society, I suppose, things have obviously changed. I mean, nobody's being married. Well, I'm sure in some cultures you're marrying off teenagers, but for the most part, you're not marrying off your teenager, right? There was that sequence in the ballroom when they're like introducing the girl, and she's like 16 and she likes walks and whatever it is. Oh, no, it was Elvira.
That was weird because they were treating them like dogs.
Yes.
And like
it's like
the
a
mother,
it's like a dog and pony show.
The mother or the chaperone would actually stand behind the girl with their hand up and their fingers like pursed, like they were holding a leash.
Yeah.
And Elvira was actually like barking.
Yeah.
And holding her hands up like she was like a dog walking on its hind legs.
Yes. And before they go out,
that was very weird.
The mother even says, "Give me your paw."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was very strange.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure
if anything felt out of place in the movie, I felt like that I could have done without that scene.
Yes and no. I think it was supposed to also be an exaggeration of what this is, because
I know, but it's like you have a certain tone throughout the movie, and then you plunge headfirst into kind of like really on the nose satire, and it just felt out of place. It didn't feel like that one bit just really did not belong in this movie. If I had one complaint about this film, it would be that.
It didn't bother me. I mean, I found it absolutely ridiculous, but I think that was the intention, right? Because
no, I'm sure that was the intention. It's just you have this film where it's just it has a more serious tone. I mean, yeah, they're doing extreme things, but it never went to that sort of comedy level. And that was comedic. That would be something I would expect to see in like a Farrelly Brothers movie or a Wayans Brothers movie. It was out of place in fitting with the tone of the rest of the movie.
All right. I didn't read it like that. I was okay with it. It didn't really take me out, so I was fine with it. But I understand what you're saying. So, yeah, there's a lot of commentary here, and I think it's really valid, and I think it's really interesting. I think this is a great story for discussing these types of tropes and themes, and it definitely lives within that universe of The Substance, the Coralie Fargeau movie.
Just making yourself more beautiful because that's what society expects.
But there's also consequences to that, because when we get to the end, it's almost like we're back at square one, kind of, in a way. And
she once again is the ugly stepsister, but now for real.
Right. And I'm sure she's extremely damaged from this whole experience. And hopefully she can find some peace and happiness. Hopefully her sister takes her somewhere where she can just be free to be herself. And
I mean, her sister was like, we got to get across the border. They were like, we're done with this entire weirdo kingdom.
I wonder if she meant like, we got to get out of here because now Agnes is going to be in a position to possibly come back for us.
You know, I don't know if Agnes would
be that vindictive.
Yeah, I mean, I got the impression Agnes was cold to them, but Agnes was also tortured because her mother died, and then her father died, and now that her father died, look at how he was treated. He's just laying on a basically a table.
Yeah, and also her situation changed.
Well, her situation changed because of the stable boy.
Right.
Prior to that, she was the number one girl at that finishing school.
Right.
She was the one that was going to be it. And Rebekka, the mother, she didn't have any issues with that at all. In fact, she wasn't even super fixated on the prince, because there's the scene at the ball where she's telling Elvira she smacks her in the face. She's like, "There's a ton of dudes here. Come on,
pull yourself together.
Pull yourself together. Get it together. There's a lot of eligible guys here that are rich."
Yeah.
And so she was more the mother was more practical. It wasn't like an all or nothing game with the prince.
Yeah. But it was for Elvira.
She was genuinely so in love with the idea of the prince.
Right.
Yeah. And Agnes, she didn't give a crap about the prince. She just realized that
he's stability.
He's stability, he is money, he is what I need to survive.
Right.
So she was also a very proud. So her and the mother had some things in common there, and as far as like the practicality and the understanding of how the world works. Whereas Elvira was living in storybooks, happily ever after, and all that nonsense.
Well, it also came across, at least to me, I'm not sure if you saw this too, but it felt like Rebekka sheltered Elvira and Alma, and so they weren't really aware of how the world works. I think
Well,
Alma
I would
was
say
just
I would say
naturally weary.
I
of
would say
things.
Elvira, but Alma I think understood the entire time.
I don't know if she understood. I mean, she was younger. I think she just didn't like what she saw. I think, if anything, I think the thing with Alma was that she was more genuine, right? So
Yeah, she didn't give a crap about any of this
right.
bullshit.
She didn't care about all these like silk trappings and whatever. If anything, it to me at least it came across like she's embraces her masculine side, right? She's comfortable being in pants.
Yeah,
than
she's wearing pants
a
and
dress.
I think she was just wearing the stable boy's clothes after he
Right.
left.
But I also felt like that was her role, right? So she, at the end, she assumes like the protector role and she's going to save her sister.
Yeah.
And so, at least to me, right, that was the impression that I got. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I didn't really deep dive.
I
We
think,
just finished this.
I think that's
but
pretty spot on.
yeah, I think that the storyteller really had a lot to say here. And I also like that it wasn't exactly true to the Grimm's fairy tale, but it definitely was a variation of the original story. So there is aspects in this film that mirror the story, and I think that that also gets points for me. It's a beautiful film. There are some very gory detail parts to it, but on the whole, I really enjoyed it. It's interesting that it is a Oscar nominated film, but I'm not mad at it because I love horror and I would assume that this is horror, and it's tagged as body horror, dark comedy. I don't know about that. Satire, comedy, drama, and horror. I don't know about all those, but definitely horror.
Yeah.
Some body horror. Definitely satire.
It's like a dark fantasy.
Fantasy, yes. Dark fantasy would be more in line instead of dark comedy.
I mean, as grounded as you feel watching the movie, there are bits where there is some kind of magic going on.
Yes. 1 to 10, what would you give this film?
I'd give this a 7.
A 7. That's so funny. That's what's on the IMDb page. I would give it an 8. I really liked it. I thought it was really interesting. I think the underlying messages are very well received, really well done in the film. I think the filmmaker does a really good job here of satirizing things in everyday society and just really showing how absurd certain things are. This absolute obsession with finding this partner, no matter what he is. It's like you're just completely blind to the fact, kind of what you were saying too before, how Elvira's naivety just really didn't let her understand that while she thought she wanted this ideal mate, he probably wasn't that. If anything, Agnes was going to probably have a miserable life. But I think Agnes was smart enough that she probably would know how to finesse that situation. So yeah. I'm not worried about Agnes.
Yeah, I mean, she let it turn her into something that she wasn't.
Right. And I think that, I think this is a great film. I don't know about hair and makeup. I've got my fingers crossed. I mean, like
they did a good job.
No, they did.
This isn't like some sort of surprise where it's just like, well,
Yeah, but it's still not like sitting in a. It's not like Penguin. It's not like completely transforming an actor into something completely different, right? So it's not that, but there is some really great work in here. I think from costuming to set design, the interiors of all the locations were pretty well done and beautiful.
It was very beautifully filmed.
Yeah, it was very beautiful. The camera work was great. I think the art director gets a lot of praise, and also the filmmaker, Emilie Blichfeldt. I think she did a really fantastic job here. I'm very impressed with this watch, and I look forward to seeing more of her films. So yes, I'm going to give it an 8. You're going to give it a 7. Again, this is Oscar nominated The Ugly Stepsister from 2025, not rated on IMDb, but I would say an R, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely
hard
an
R. Yeah.
Yeah, hard R. And it clocks it at 1 hour and 49 minutes. We caught it on Hulu, but you can also catch it on AMC Plus and to buy rent on Prime Video. And before we wrap it up, we'd encourage everyone to please like, share, and follow, and tell us your thoughts in the comments. What did you think? Have you seen The Ugly Stepsister? What'd you think? And with that, we'll wrap it up and bid you all a
Good night.
good night.